Okay, cool.
Okay, welcome everybody. Here we are Sunday night, our favorite time of the week. It's Global Strangeness, brought to you by tonight, four strangers brought together by the love of everything folklore, spiritual, spooky, you name it. We get into it, weird. Jeremy. It's myself, Jeremy, and Scott, and Michael. And Bruce, unfortunately, is unpacking his pajamas from his trip still, so he'll be with us next week. So anyways, so this week's topic is kind of interesting. I feel like it's a little more serious than some of our other shows. We're kind of digging into religion and the origins of negative entities, energies. So poltergeists, demons, you name it, and across the board of, where did they come from? What beliefs, how do different religions deal with these? So exorcisms and holy water and all that kind of good stuff you see in the movies. So, I mean, this has been around forever. Every single religion or faith really does have some sort of a belief system built around this, right? So, and there's different differences between spirits and entities and energies. That kind of varies, but there's definitely a theme about some negative energies and how they affect people and why they, need to follow the religion to avoid the energies, really is what I'm kind of, part of me thinks that it's built in by the religions, religion, and that's why you see it in cults and everything else as well. So anyways, we'll dig into it. So I mean,
is Debra freezing for everybody else too? Just want to make sure it's not just me.
Yeah,
am I freezing up?
A little bit.
Oh, here, well, I'll sit closer. I'll try and sit still. And I'll blame it on the demons around me making me wiggle around. I don't know. Maybe they don't like the conversation. Anyways, spirits exist in many religions around the world. Essentially all religions, prevalent in nearly all cultures and religions, according to David Frankfurter, who's a professor of religion at the Boston University and author of Evil Incarnate. That's a great book title. And so they have different names. We hear of the
Frankfurter, though, isn't he the guy from what's that movie called?
Rocky Horror Picture Show. Yeah,
It's the same guy.
I hope is it Tim Curry in drag?
Is it the same guy? I don't know, but anyways, I thought it was a pretty cool title of a book, and it's called Evil Incarnate: Rumors of Demonic Conspiracy and Satanic Abuse in History. Like,
wow, what a title.
Right? Like, that's one to read right before sleep, I think. So anyways, in different religions, you hear, like, I'm sure everybody's heard the jinn, and obviously demons, and then poltergeists, and what was the other one? Just malevolent spirits. So in Christianity, one thing that's different about some of these is some people believe that the spirits affect people into doing evil things. And some people believe that doing evil things invites the spirits. It's kind of backwards. And Christianity, so especially the Catholic Church is always so prevalent in these conversations because of exorcisms, even though exorcisms are performed in many different Christian religions, but they really are very very definitive about that the spirit is opposite. Like, there's no good and shadow side to spirits or people. It's like you're either good and doing something of the light, or it's evil. Spirit is completely evil, not of God. Whereas some other religions, some other people, they believe that it's like a jinn. They believe it could be good, could be bad. They're not sure, and you have to get to know the spirit themselves and figure out what they want. So I thought that was really interesting because I was raised Catholic, and like everything is evil, like it's opposite, right? There's like a real, opposition there. So I thought that was kind of interesting. What do you guys think about that? Do you think spirits have good and bad, just like humans have good and bad sides, or do you think,
Of course they do.
I
It
think
only
they're
makes
all
sense.
bad.
No,
You?
there are good
Absolutely.
spirit. Dude, I live with spirits. They're good spirits. I mean, they don't do anything malicious or anything malevolent. It's just they're there. I mean, last medium I talked to said they're just walking around me in the garage, kind of like zombies.
See, and
I mean,
that's what I think too. But so, Jeremy, do you think that there's a difference then between these spirits and then like a demonic entity? Is there a difference between an entity and a spirit, or where do you draw the line? Is there anything that's pure evil,
I
or
don't like
is everything have shadow and light?
I don't like the word demon per se. I just prefer evil. It's just they've been there since before demons and angels were really a name or a thing. They've been there since the beginning of time. The cavemen had boogeymen or dark things they didn't understand at night, and not all of them are animals. I'm sure of it. There are primitive things that are evil that have been here. I mean, yeah, do you want to call them demons? Sure, have fun. You want to call them jinn? Have fun with that too. Anything else you want to call them? Just it's a name. Names mean nothing because they're given. Names are not told. So, I mean, there's evil. There's good and evil in the world always. There's yin and yang. Beginning of time. Every legend has a hero and a villain. It's just the way life goes. Like there's always gonna be evil. It's just religions use the names to make money because that's what religions thrive off is donations and money for doing deeds, and that's why religions are just as governments. But that's another topic.
And also control, right? Not just money, but like, why should they follow the church altogether?
Money,
To scare people,
money is
shit
power.
out of people into following.
Then the guy had to say, but money is power, So money is power, and that's the church had the money. Even in the olden days, the church had the money. If you need help with something, where do you go to ask for help? You went to your pastor, you went to your preacher, whatever you want to call him. That's who you went to, and you would tell him what's going on, and he would find a way to help you. Whether it was somebody else in the church, great. That's just neighborhood goodness. That should happen. But sometimes the church would just help you out because then you owe them a favor down the line and you might do something for them. So the church, they're not stupid. They never have been. They know what they're doing. They've been doing it since England days and time before that, since religion first began. They saw an opportunity and they took it. That's all it was. The evil person back in the day saw an opportunity and ran with it.
Interesting. So because I don't think it's all bad on the religious side either. I think there's probably some people get solace out of it. There's some well-intentioned, but you're right. It's a big, powerful, money-making machine. There's no doubt about that.
Well, just to be clear, I'm not talking the individual pastors and priests in every city across the world like that.
Or anybody we've interviewed in the past.
They are, I would say that's easily 50-50. 50% of them are going to be good natured people who just want to help, and that's why they got into the profession they did. The other 50% are the ones that the Boston Globe does scandals on because they're not good people and they use their power to do dirty things that they shouldn't be doing, or that anybody should be doing in this world. So, I mean, there's going to be good and evil in every circumstance in the world, and clergy are no exception in any way, unless it's taxes, then they get exceptions for some reason. Can't explain that one. But I mean, the overall religious hierarchy, the higher ups, yes, they are just pure evil. The people who run the Vatican. That's why me and Scar are taking over in the apocalypse.
We're gonna have a long swim, my friend.
We'll steal a boat. People will be dead.
Maybe the apocalypse will start while Bruce is over there. You guys heard about this October 4th emergency broadcast, right?
Yeah, I have been hearing about that. Yeah.
I've heard nothing.
I fucking so it's going off on October 4th. They're gonna do a nationwide emergency broadcast. So every smartphone, smart TV, and computer is gonna do a minute long of just Amber Alert beeping, all at the same time. So, there's all the conspiracy theories about the vaccinated are gonna have their like vaccine kill them or the 5G is gonna fry their brains or whatever, but
Fun stuff.
when I was doing my street interviews yesterday, I thought it was like everybody knew. But out of like 20 people I interviewed, only one person had heard about it. So I think a lot of people are gonna be super fucking freaked out on the 4th, dude.
I know I haven't heard about it. That said, we get so many freaking Amber alerts. You know, I don't even, it wouldn't shock me.
This one's gonna be different because all the smart TVs, all the computers and every phone at the same time throughout the whole country, so. I hope
Yeah,
I'm working in a Walmart that day.
So
What
I
time
wonder,
is
will it be
GoPro?
Canada too, or just the
I heard
US
it was
is having this?
nationwide, so I'm
Okay,
not
so
sure
we're
if you-
free.
Yeah, I'm not
Nobody
sure.
cares about Canada.
You guys might be, like, what is the nation, right? Is that all in North America or is Mexico
No,
in
it would be
that, or-
US, I think.
The nation, the
Okay.
nation is the United States, Scott. We're a nation. We don't associate
What
with
about
those
Puerto
down south.
Rico?
They're part of the
That
nation.
would be
technically.
included.
They're
Yeah,
technically
cool.
part of the nation.
You're not included, Deborah. Sorry.
I can
Or
use
she
my
was
phone
just-
all I want and bank and be online and do whatever I want on that day.
You were the only one that knew about it. You're not even gonna experience it. What the hell?
Yeah, no, I had heard about it, but I also heard there's a whole bunch of spiritual people talking about Saturday, like the 23rd. There's supposed to be some big, a spiritual something
What,
happening,
y-
or days of
yeah.
darkness, and
Yeah, yesterday.
yeah,
I
it
mean,
was a big
nothing's-
thing. People were
nothing-
talking about it.
No.
Oh yeah, that was all over the place, like with psychic meetings,
Nothing's-
and people were talking about it. Nothing
Nothing's-
happened, as far as I know.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was a pretty boring day.
So is Russell Brand innocent or guilty?
What did he do now?
I don't follow that, but
I think, I mean, he's probably been fairly inappropriate a little bit, but it's definitely a media takedown.
It's Russell Brand. Come on.
yeah, I
It's a
don't.
media takedown because he's very vocal against the media outlets that are reporting doing this whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm disinclined to participate in any of it. It's just, I don't know the guy. I don't know what he did. If he did it, that's with him and the law. And if he didn't, hire a fucking lawyer. I don't really care.
Yeah, right?
Well,
That's
if
the
he-
whole, it's all speculation, right?
If
Yeah,
he
he's
gets
got
kicked
enough
off
money.
of Rumble,
He can defend himself. He's got the cabbage to pay for a lawyer.
if he gets kicked off of Rumble, our views might go up on Rumble, so.
Ooh.
Just saying.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. And so what do you guys, back to, what are your views on, do negative entities attach to you if you're, a low vibrational, like, boozing it up and watching porn and doing all those things? Did they attach to you then? Or do they attach to you and influence you to do those things? Which way do you think it goes?
I feel attacked here. Why gotta be porn? Why gotta be porn?
Especially Bigfoot porn. What do you think about that?
Oh, man, I think everybody who's watching Bigfoot porn.
Bigfoot
they're
porn
like
is
That's
wholesome.
right. That's
demons on 'em.
hilarious. Scott, that was hilarious. Thank you for saying that.
Well, that's
Bigfoot-
Jeremy's thing, dude.
Bigfoot porn is wholesome and family friendly. Thank you.
That's angelic.
Deborah, I just don't believe it. I just don't believe in demonic possession. I don't believe that spirits influence people. I think, and I'll get into this when I start my spiel, but I think there are a lot of people that just are not okay. And I think, particularly these days, I think we have trouble identifying those people, because a lot of people that are not okay are perfectly normal in almost any other circumstance, right? They go to
Mhm.
work, they answer the phone, they drive the car. But then when you observe them more closely, and even the Catholic Church will not deem somebody possessed until they go through a psychological evaluation. I just think there are many people in this world, for whatever reason, that are just not okay.
It's true.
I'm
true.
not, Scott and I spoke about this earlier. I'm skeptical. I want to believe. I'm more like Mulder on X-Files. our eyes, our ears, we can only sense so many frequencies of light and sound. Certainly there's something beyond that. How it affects us, I don't know. I'm disinclined to believe it though.
I like him, but I mean, he's right. He's right. I mean, these days, especially, it's just there's so many things that can affect your mental health that it's just people don't know what to do anymore. The world's already going to shit. Like, if it ends in a couple of days, yeah, I'm gonna be worried about my kids. But besides that, I wouldn't be too upset.
Jeremy, everybody needs an enemy. That's why I think we should cancel telework. That way we're all pissed off at the same thing going into the office.
I agree. I agree. Let's cancel telework. Let's everybody work from home. That sounds amazing. Keep the shippers there though. I need people to ship the stuff myself. But other than that, all CS people should work from home. Same. I am down with that movement.
And we'll go into our first commercial. So if you guys are dealing with any emotional problems, don't call BetterHelp. Call Better Scott for $50 an hour.
Oh.
I will guide you on a tarot card revival back to sanity.
God.
That's better SCOTT.
Global Strangers LLC is not responsible for anything that comes out of Scott's mouth, legally or any other way. Checking our asses here. Someone has to.
Scott, we're going to summon the skunk ape. We got to get that Ouija
Yeah.
board.
Hell yeah.
Ooh.
While we're eating the chip.
Oh gosh, you still haven't done that? So Scott,
No.
do you want to pull up the picture of the older
One-
gentleman with the lady that he's performing a ritual on?
Oh, that's number 3. What are we doing?
Yeah, number
here?
3. Skip over number 2. It's all good.
Damn Canadians can't count.
But I kind of just wanted to talk to the different ways of exorcisms and rituals dealing with, the removal of demons and entities, because I thought it was kind of interesting. Like, I've always been really interested in, the Pentecostal, like the revival religions, in the tents, and they, where they're like, I lay my hand on you, and in front of, and it's like this big huge group and everybody's chanting, and it's like this huge energetic thing. And then there's quite a few religions that do it like, do an exorcism or a ritual like that, where it's a group setting and there's quite a bit of energy raised by a bunch of people. The Catholic exorcisms tend to be kind of individual. It's individual cases, and they, it's closed off. It's mainly just the priest and a few people in the room. So I thought that was really interesting, because when you think about herd mentality, if you have a whole tent full of people all kind of in a frenzied state, like how much of this is just people like suggestive energy?
Deborah, can I intercede here?
Yeah.
There's actually a movement in the Catholic Church, per my research, that is moving a lot closer to that Pentecostal style group hypnosis, where everybody's speaking in tongues and the waving of arms, and people adopting, a la the Exorcist movie, these demonic voices and falling on the floor. It's really quite different from anything I've ever seen in the Catholic Church. But yeah, so this is spilling over into Catholicism as well.
I think it would be so interesting to sit in on something like that, where there's, this massive group of people, and it's just, because I'm glad you brought up the word hypnosis, because my theory is, how much of this is just, hypnosis and just the language they're using and suggestive things that are causing people to, suddenly speak in tongues and whatever. And it's not a demon, it's really just hypnosis. Like, what do you guys think about that? Especially in a group setting, that'd be, such a perfect explanation.
It's group mentality. That's all it is.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
they just they used to say back in the old days that if a woman wasn't listening to her man doing everything he said, that she was under some spell of a demon or something like that. Like down south, that's what they always said. Like it's an excuse. That's all it is. It's an excuse, and now it's being used in a brute mentality type of setting to make it a. And these movies aren't freaking helping. All these movies are not helping at all.
I
They
think
need to
it's,
calm down on the freaking Exorcist movies. Like it's just
hey,
do something
Exorcist
else
4
wrong.
is coming out this year. You hold your
It
tongue,
is.
son. I think it's kind of like when people speak in tongues. It's like I went to Baptist church when I was a kid, and people would speak in tongues, and half the church knew they were full of shit. But when we did the Exorcist or the exorcism episode, like I had brought in those like Southern Baptists that were doing the exorcism, and they had the 3 little
Right.
girls. And there were maybe like 100 people with like 10 to 20 people that they were exercising on stage. But then when I got the videos of the Muslim exorcisms, like they literally had a group of 1,000 people where they were exercising hundreds of people at the same time. So it probably is more of like a wanting to belong to something, like wanting to be special type thing.
It's a
Then,
cult.
yeah,
Religions are cults. That's all they are. They're cults. They
it's
just
kind of
get
like
away with shit more.
when you speak in tongues, it's like, I remember when I was a kid at my church, it was like those people were all hoity-toity, like I'm closer to God than you are, like it was like I don't know, just something they could say that they're special from. So I think
Did
I
they-
always I always imagine people that did that were reaching back into a childlike playtime, right? Where we're going to participate in the pretend, but as adults, we're really doing it for a show. We're releasing our inhibitions to be part, like you said, be part of a larger group. And let's just pretend. Let's just have fun like kids. That's kind of how I see it. But Scott, I can't imagine what you went through going to one of these crazy churches. I mean, looking back on it, are you at all traumatized from that experience?
no, my church was
we
like
can answer that.
my church. So my wife went to like the hardcore Baptist church, and my church was kind of like, first off, we never had a building. We were always in Highland High School. So it was like rented auditorium, and we would have to set it up every friggin' morning. And it was mainly like, a couple of older Baptist people that didn't want to drive all the way out to my wife's church. And they were like really conservative. And then there were all the people that had just recently quit drugs and alcohol that made up the second half of the church. So it was like, I don't know, man. I got out of church when I was in like the 6th grade. But I mean, even at a younger age, you could see how like these people, you'd hear them when you walked through, how they were like judging each other, and it's fucking
Yeah.
crazy.
That's every religion, though. That's every religion. They do that in Christian churches. They do that in Jewish
Yeah.
churches. They do that in every church. It's always that's society. That has nothing to do with the church. That's just
Yeah,
there's
because I
society
can remember
judging.
going to church as a kid, and everybody's all in the church, whatever, and then outside right after church, everybody would gather out there, and all the parents talking, and you'd hear people gossiping about whoever, whatever they wore, and whatever somebody did the week, and it's just been the gossip happening right outside the church. So you're right. It's like that's people.
Right
Oh.
before I fucking stopped going to that church. So the 2 main pastors were a husband and a wife, and then there was like Pastor Mark was the assistant pastor. But it was Pastor Bob and Pastor Sandy, and Pastor Sandy met a good looking fella, and she ran off and left her children and her husband. And one of the
The devil's
last
work.
yeah, one of the last times I ever went to church, it was Pastor Bob getting up there and like trying to forgive his wife in front of the congregation. And it was just like
That's
this
sad.
sad
Crazy.
sob story. It's fucking horrible, dude. And that,
Wow.
it
You kidding me,
lasted
man?
for another 10 years. So
My brother, when he was in college, like he got into this church actually in Canada because he was in college in Buffalo, and he went to this college in Fort Erie, right over the border, or this church, and like he went hardcore, like he signed up for like all the religious classes and everything, and like did like the year-long classes and got rebaptized and everything. And then like finally the disillusion kind of wore off, and 5 years later he just kind of stopped going because work became more important, as it should. But his ex, who they broke up because they couldn't date, couldn't have any kind of sexual relation or anything while they're in classes, because why not get controlled by the religion? But his ex was still in the church, and the pastor of the church ended up sending her all these messages, like telling her he wants to be with her and everything. And then she went to his wife. His wife didn't. Because there was all the family, like the kids and the married couple, were pastors in this church, but it was a non-denominational church. It was a non-denominational church. So I mean, and so like she went to the wife eventually, and the wife like just basically yelled at her for trying to make a mess of their church until she showed her the messages. And then they now live down south in America somewhere, trying to start all over again. Only the one son stayed behind because he didn't want to be involved in anymore. But the daughters and the wife and husband all moved down south to go work things out.
See, in all these things, I have a real theory when it comes to religion and spirituality, because I consider myself spiritual now and not religious. And like the whole thing, so all these stories about pastors and the heads of churches, and they're really just human and they're fallible, just like everybody else. And I feel like even all these, the beliefs, teaching the beliefs about having to do exorcisms on other people, and the priest has the power to do, someone else always has the power to protect you. But I think honestly, everybody can, connect themselves. You don't need another human to go through. You don't need another human to protect yourself from negative entities either. But I think that's part of the way of how they control everything, is to, give out the rules. And then if you don't follow the rules, they're the ones that have to help you out of that situation. So I think it's really, it's just control, right? It's just crazy.
Before Martin Luther, they were the only ones that could understand the Bible, right?
Yeah, that's true, right?
Yeah.
James is saying that hypnosis and tongues are both fake. I kind of agree with him. I don't buy into hypnosis either.
I've seen hypnosis work in ways though that I can't explain.
Well, there's something to suggestibility, because that's what marketing all is, right? We see commercials, whatever. Like there is something to that. You can, you can suggest things to masses of people and get them thinking away.
Well, think about it though. I mean, there is definitely a higher consciousness inside every human being. So why wouldn't hypnosis work? Why wouldn't there be a way to access that? Like,
I agree with that.
I mean, I'm not saying every hypnotherapist out there and every hypnotist out there is actually like not a charlatan, but some of them definitely aren't. Some of them definitely know what they're doing. Like they know how to unlock it. I've seen it work. I've seen enough videos of it that actually works, and there's no way these people know this stuff. Like, and it can get, and in past lives, I mean, the whole Akashic records and past life thing goes into that too a little bit. So it's definitely real to some degree. I mean, I'm not
Before we get far along, can I just refer back to a Scott and Jeremy story? How screwed up do you have to be to observe or believe that an hour-long ceremony of people speaking in tongues and rolling on the floor is simply foreplay? I mean, that's just some crazy shit.
It was pretty crazy to watch.
You've got to be sick.
Well, that's the thing with tongues, right? That's why it pisses so many people off when they do it, is because everyone who accepts Jesus to be their Lord and Savior is supposed to understand tongues because it's God's word, right? And then all the people who are speaking in tongues bullshit that they can hear each other, and then everybody else in the church is like, well, I'm more Christian than those motherfuckers, so I should have understood it too. So it's just like this, I don't know, man.
Can I find a church somewhere where after an hour and a half of rolling around in the aisles, I stand up and I can speak German? That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think those were on the trains, but
Yeah.
if you got back up. But I mean, I don't know. It's just religion is a cult. That's all they are. They're the first cults. That's all they ever. I mean, even back in ancient days, like ancient Greece, they used to believe that 3 women could tell the future, and that was their church. Like they were, or whatever goddess or god you believed in back then. They all had their
The
own
Oracle
temples.
of Delphi. Yep.
Yeah, the Oracle of Delphi. They all had their own temples. Like it's just. I just did. I'm doing a Greek mythology movie bracket. I already watched the Norse word, so I'm very deep into Greek culture right now. But
You putting
like,
300 on that bracket because I love that movie.
it's on there along with 32 other movies. It's on there, but I mean, and it's debatable. But I mean, ever since ancient times, like all these different gods and goddesses have had their temples, and they've all just been little cults, and they're the beginning of religion. That's all it was. Before there was one god, there was thousands, and it's just it keeps
And
growing.
what is the difference between, because the cults do the same things, like the leader has all the power and is the go-between, the higher power and the people. So what constitutes what's a cult versus what's a religion? Because cults obviously often end up doing mayhem, crimes and whatever. But there's also legitimate religions, and there's been children who've been, died in exorcisms, and just people who, passed away because of, religious exorcisms that went wrong or went on too long or whatever. So what's the definition between the two then? Really?
Tax status. If you don't have to
Yep.
pay taxes, you're a religion.
Is that all it is? It's a business?
You grease the right
Implication?
hands. Religions have enough money and followers to grease the right hands. That's all it is. Cults don't. Some cults do. That's why some cults get to go along forever, Epstein. But I mean, it's just the way it is.
So
Well, I
the
think-
buddy, oh,
No, go ahead. I was thinking, I think Deborah's question is the larger category of things cult, and underneath that are categories that would include religion? Or
Yes.
is the larger category religion, and underneath that you find something called a cult?
I mean, it's what came first, the chicken or the egg. And I mean, I think cults came first technically. Because little cults were all over the ancient world. So
I'm not going to disagree with you, because I think, Deborah, this is a question that many people have asked, and I just don't think it's that easily answered.
Right.
I'll walk up there to the show.
It feels like it's all one and the same, and somehow some are socially accepted and some are not, but I'm not sure what the parameters are.
Well,
Why?
I think adherence to a dogma, even if it results in detriment to yourself, is the ultimate definition of a cult, right? Think about
True.
Jim Jones.
yeah, Jim Jones.
We're going to
David-
adhere to the rules of this cult. You're going to walk up here and you're good at this, and you're going to die on the ground.
Well, I mean, like the Mormon
you-
religion, would you consider that a cult or a religion?
Oh God, yeah. The FLDS won our cult bracket, Scott. Come
No,
on.
I'm talking about the LDS, not the FLDS.
I mean, all religions are cults, and Mormons are definitely a cult. Look who founded them. Freaking
Well-
Joseph Smith. Dumb. Like
Most
South Park
people,
nailed it.
most people would consider them a religion. And the guy I joined the carnival with and went on the road with, his family was strong, like LDS. And his brother, he was like a hardcore punk rocker back in John Buckles' day. And then he joined the Mormon religion and went straight to friggin' bishop. And then he followed this thing to the T. He got married. He changed his whole life. He was like this great Mormon person. And then they made him reach through the veil. And when he had to fondle some other guy's junk, he got the fuck out of there, right? Does that make them a cult or a religion? If you got
It's
to
a
reach
hell of a
through the
story.
veil.
I mean, fondling another guy's junk is in plenty of religions too. So I don't know about that, Scott. It could be either.
I don't know. I
Catholic-
never
the
had to
Catholic Church
fondle
isn't-
anybody in the Baptist church, dude.
The Catholic Church is a trademark on that. Come on, you know that.
That's the priests fondling you. I mean, I don't know if I'm against that or not, but like when you gotta fondle the priest.
Jesus.
Oh, if you don't think it goes both ways with those damn priests, you're out of your mind.
But this speaks to my question, is like the depravity is in all of them. Like there's just you know?
Yeah,
I don't
because
know.
that's part of human nature, isn't it? To take
Right.
advantage of others. There are people with that inclination and people who are unfortunately have victim mentality.
Yeah, the victim mentality is a big one, and that's, I mean, that was a big part of my church too, and I'm pretty sure everyone
Yeah.
else's.
Well, isn't that what they're built on? Is people are looking for a place where they can feel safe and feel part of something and feel protected. So,
Mhm.
I mean, it's literally vulnerable people that come join, you know, looking
think
for
anybody-
that.
Anybody can be vulnerable at any point in time. It's really the insidious nature of taking advantage of others is the person who knows when that vulnerability moment is.
Mhm.
Exactly. I mean, you want a perfect example? Look at War of the Worlds, like the first movie. At the end of that first movie, everybody's held in a church praying, and then all of a sudden the aliens stop working, and they ended the movie by saying like the power of God. Fast forward to
Not the Tom Cruise one, right?
no,
'Cause I
no,
don't think I saw
the original black and white one back in the day.
I like the Orson Welles radio version. You can find it on YouTube.
Yeah, you can, but I mean, this was the original black and white when we'd watch it in sci-fi class in high school. But like they fixed it with the 2005 Tom Cruise one because it ends with them explaining that the aliens got sick, basically, which is how this actual radio broadcast ended. Is the original story ends with the aliens getting like a cold because they can't handle Earth's germs. But they changed it in the original movie because that's how religion impacted everything back then. Like the last scene of it is literally them, like that was the main lesson in this class for watching this movie, is like that at the time, like showing how they defeat things is just God. Like our teacher literally laughed at the ending. Like he literally laughed at the ending and he was just like, see, this is how naive people were back in the 50s.
I thought that was one of Tom Cruise's best movies, by the way.
That, yeah, I did too. That was like one of
I
his
don't-
best for sure.
I
dude.
don't know if I agree with that. I did not like 2005 one at all, really.
Besides Rain Man. Rain Man was good.
Rain Man was good.
You're forgetting all the Mission Impossible movies. They're
Fuck
amazing.
Those are
Mission
amazing.
Impossible.
Those are amazing. There's no question about it.
So this is a question, right? Like with the way the world is currently going right now, we have kind of lost, whether it's a religion or a cult, like we've lost religious belief. And it seems like we are going down in a shithole right now. So the Ben Shapiro's of the world, which, you know, like I'm kind of scared of the majority of the Gen Z population going that way. And then we go straight back into hard Republican territory. But the fact that you know, if you have these religious beliefs and you have these church communities, it does seem to kind of stabilize the entire world as a whole. And then you can still be one of those people who does not, you know, doesn't attach themselves to that, but it seems better when the rest of the world does, right? Besides for the laws.
I
like
mean, the world's going to shitter because of 1,000 different things. That has nothing to do with religion.
I think it
Yeah.
has a lot to do with religion. I think it
Or
has
lack of
Lack
some
of
structure
religion,
and,
yeah.
you know,
I
yeah.
actually think the world's not going to shit, and I think the abandonment of religion is actually a good thing. The problem is that religious tenant has been replaced by nonsense. I mean,
yeah,
we
what do we
failed to,
replace it with?
right, we failed to really understand that we're temporary beings. We're living on a rock that flies through massive debris fields twice a year.
Hey,
That
I'm going
life-
on my second Flat Earth podcast tomorrow. That is debatable, Michael. Debatable.
You and your
Space
Flat
might not
Earth.
be real.
that
You-
life has come and gone on this planet hundreds of times over, and you know, there's a lot more to worry about than some of the things like what Kim Kardashian is doing is a bad example. So I don't see the abandonment of religion as necessarily bad. However, we can abandon rational thought and self-interest.
So how do we fill that hole though, like through the masses? Like religion did a great job, and it might have brought a lot of bad shit with it, like prejudice against people who thought different religious beliefs than you did, different cultures and everything, but like it kind of kept us all together and holding on. Like how
I
do
think
you
though too,
fix
it's
that?
also, it's isn't it also like what we value, like who we value as a human and what we value? Because we have now people that are, they're
You're
famous and
glitching out real quick.
millions of followers, and
Canada has frozen people.
Okay, she's gonna restart as
athlete,
soon
or
as
they're
she
a very good person.
moves. Right now.
Hey,
No,
Okay,
we didn't
restart
hear
what
any
you
of
said.
that.
oh,
froze
sorry.
Completely.
We were
yeah.
frozen.
Crappy internet. I was just saying what we value, like in people, the people that we admire, that's shifted. Because it used to
Mhm.
be people that had some sort of they were really good leaders or had a good message, or great athlete, or was something like a valuable thing. And now it's like an Instagram influencer with 10 million followers. That's somehow a person of value just because they're rich. You know what I'm saying?
I do. I don't
Oh,
know how you
100%.
fix that.
I don't either. I mean, well, I know how you fix it, but no one's gonna go for it.
They
Well,
follow us right now.
Yeah,
Everybody. in the
everyone
world.
should follow us. That's true. I
Yes.
think we've created a situation where a very large segment of the population feels they no longer have stake in the outcome.
Mhm.
And when you're looking at house prices at 4 or 5, 600,000 just to buy a house, you have a huge amount of people that feel disenfranchised. And when you feel
Mhm.
disenfranchised, you're going to look for things that are not meaningful to create meaning in your life. And I think that's part of the problem. And I'm not saying I have a resolution to this or even a sufficient understanding. But I think a lot of it has to do with just how people are trying to create meaning in their lives.
I have a way. Get rid of Instagram, get rid of Twitter, get rid of all these freaking apps completely.
It's called X.
Whatever. Get rid of them all. Get rid of
Great
them all.
marketing idea.
Go back to MySpace and let's stick with MySpace. Everything was good back then. Let's just stay with MySpace. That's all we gotta do.
I think
Hell yeah, I didn't do the internet back when it was MySpace.
I didn't
We
I
should
like
create-
those ideas.
we need to start a band and get a MySpace page. It'll be awesome.
An acapella band. I think we
I'm
could
pre-
do it.
I'm
Zoom,
pretty sure
we could do it.
I'm pretty sure my MySpace page is still out there somewhere if you Google it long enough, but it's out there somewhere.
Is it?
But I mean, I'm
Is
sure
it still there?
Last I checked when I Googled, it was still coming up. I don't know the login for anything nowadays, but and
Yeah,
I don't have access to that email anymore. But
Yeah, right.
I was at a party in like 2004, and the dude who was throwing the party was like on MySpace. And I mean, there's like 30 people, we're all getting wasted. And I come over to him and I'm like, what are you doing, dude? And he's like, hey, I'm talking to people on MySpace. Like, but there's like fucking 40 people here. We're all partying. Like, what the fuck are you doing? I thought the internet was going to be absolute garbage. I never saw that shit come.
oh, dude, I've been on the internet since freaking like '98. The internet has always been a thing. Like,
I did Napster, but that you'd like download a 30-second song, it would take 4 hours, and then somebody
Yeah.
call on the phone, and that shit was done. You had to restart.
You got to get
But
your
that right there,
56
you're talking about being at a party and the guy's talking and you thought that was weird. Go to a restaurant nowadays, every table, everybody's on their phone, not even looking at the person right across from them, paying money to sit in a restaurant together. Like it's bizarre.
It is
Everybody's
crazy.
missing the moment that they're in. Everybody.
Well, kids like mob down the street on a Friday night, and they're all on their phone, like talking. And it was like, that was my favorite part, walking to the party, like
Right.
going on the adventure,
mhm.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we all need to do better. Get our faces out of the phones than be in the real world.
Global Strangeness for President 2024, or the fuck it is next.
I think there's still time. We could enter. We just, if you guys would like to donate, I don't know, what does it cost? $5 million to get your name on every ballot?
Okay, here's how it's gonna work though.
And
I go
Debra's
for- I-
citizenship. Debra needs
go-
Right.
yeah.
citizenship.
Well, here's how that works. I go for president, Scott be vice president, because no one's gonna kill me if Scott's vice president, because no one wants him to be president. So nobody wants his tarot reading birds aren't real ass as president. So I'll be president, he'll be my vice president, that way no one kills me.
As
There we
long
go.
as long as I can put that the earth is flat in all the textbooks,
Be my guest. I really wouldn't. It really wouldn't bother me that much. I'd be too busy.
that'd be fun.
I think Kardashians.
Let's start this great reset quick, dude.
Well, let
All
me,
right,
Get it going.
Let's find the Kardashians.
so Deborah, were you done with your images? Did you have more images you wanted to show?
Whoa, it ain't that kind of show now.
She's stuck.
Ads. Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay, so Scott, what I wanted to go over today, I guess I have an outsized pet peeve with, the paranormal and ghost shows on TV. Why? Because I really wanted these shows to be cool. I wanted to see something. You all have 500, 600, 700, maybe $1,500 cameras, and I have yet to see a ghost. Kind of
You see more-
disappointed.
I've seen more ghosts from my actual podcast guest on video than I've seen from these damn shows. Hashtag
Yeah.
fuck Zach Baggins.
Well,
Yeah, I saw the story.
The people we had on, man, like they did a whole fucking season for Discovery, and it seemed like they kind of got fucked. Like they
They
didn't even
do.
get like year changing money. Like they had to go right back to
Fucking
work
dogs.
immediately.
Yeah. So what I wanted to look at, Deborah, is what are the origins of the idea that these ghost chasers and paranormal specialists are going to walk through the house with holy water and a cross? I really wanted to understand the origins of that because it just struck me as inauthentic, right? It struck me as the misapplication of a ritual that was designed specifically to rid the human body of a possessing demon. So what we really need to do is we need to go back to Catholicism, the holy water, and I'm not espousing a religious point of view here. I'm simply talking about the historical context of these tropes, that is the cross and the holy water. So you have to go back to the Catholic exorcism ritual. And we all know about the movie Exorcist, which was, one of the best horror movies of all time.
Still
And
holds
that
up.
horror movie, huh?
Still holds up.
Yeah. And that horror movie really instilled the Catholic, and it is Catholic, the Catholic exorcism ritual. The interesting thing is that the ritual approach to exorcism in the Catholic Church wasn't established until 1614 with the publication of something called the Roman Ritual. And the Roman Ritual was simply the guidebook. Thank you, Scott. The Roman Ritual is the guidebook for how to conduct an exorcism. It says right on the front cover, burial, exorcisms, and blessings, right? So what is this? This book tells us how to perform exorcisms, and it's the primary resource for exorcists even today.
Do you know if we can buy this book?
You can get it on Amazon, absolutely.
Sweet.
Oh,
So just for your information, Scott, there were 3 volumes to the Roman Ritual. The one you want, if this is what you want, is volume 2.
Volume 2.
So in this book, we get the words, I cast you out, unclean spirit, along with every satanic power of the enemy, every specter from hell, all of your fell companions, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. It is he who commands you. You know these words. You've seen the movie The Exorcist. In fact, there's an obelisk in the Piazza San Pietro at the Vatican where it has these exact words, right? It says, behold the cross of the Lord, flee all you who are part of the enemy. Scott, if you could bring up the second image. So the idea of the cross and the holy water requires the participant to have complete and total faith in the tenets of the Catholic faith. And here you see, Deborah, this is in your country, this is in Quebec. This is a Catholic church where people who have become faithful have been able to abandon their walking aids, their
What's
crutches.
this thing? This like face?
I can't explain that. I don't know. But the other things are supposed to be, artifacts of people who have been able to abandon their canes, their prosthetics, their walking sticks because of their adherence to belief. So now we can go to the next
It's like a
image.
face cast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, you know what that is, Scott?
horns or something, or
That's a cast if you have head, neck
Yeah, there's the
cancer.
shoulders.
They put that over your head. So each time you undergo radiation, your head is in the exact same place. So
Oh,
that's kind of really sad.
how the hell do
so-
they breathe through that thing?
Well, it's a mesh.
Huh.
Uh,
Okay, zoom out of this. I'll get that thing is pretty crazy looking.
Yeah, thanks
Let
for
me
pointing
get
that out. That was
to-
interesting. I didn't realize what that was at first.
Number 3.
so here's the thing though, so is that all just the placebo effect? People, it is the power of your mind. I mean, mind is absolutely phenomenal. So
I
Is-
don't know. I can't answer that. I didn't really put a lot of effort into thinking about that. And with respect to the placebo effect, I think it's well established scientifically that it's a real thing,
mhm.
but I can't speak to it. I mean, we would have to go back into the speaking in tongues and the laying of hands and blah blah blah. That maybe that could be one of our shows.
Mhm.
So, okay, so this guy was really interesting because he's not only walking through the haunted house with a cross, but he's got a double barrel shotgun. I
Is this
thought that
Doom? Is this Doom?
He's
it should be Doom. We should have a Doom. So the
Oh,
idea,
looks like. Wait a minute. What's with the guy with the camera on the top right? It looks like a movie.
this is a screenshot from a reaction video on YouTube.
Oh.
Yeah, you can ignore that.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I don't know. I feel like this is a movie. See, I feel like this has to be like
I
a
know,
movie.
right? Okay, you can go to the next one, Scott. So basically,
Scott's
the
on piss
idea
break.
is that in Catholicism, what Catholicism does in this rite, this ritual Romani, is they're going to exorcise demons from the afflicted. However, the Roman Catholic Church has very strict rules about who can be admitted into an exorcism. They first have to go undergo a medical evaluation, right? Before they're even considered to be demonically possessed. They have to rule out all kinds of mental and psychological illnesses. They have to go through a psychological assessment. They have to go through a medical evaluation, because to undergo this whole ritual is a very rare event.
Is
Except
it
for
rock?
I'm sorry?
Is it rock salt in that shotgun, or what do we got in there?
It's Dean
I
Winchester
don't-
behind the rifle.
I don't know. I guess, like Debra said, he's prepared for anything.
Did you watch this video? Because like, do you have a link for this video? Because I
Yeah.
really want to watch this.
You got it. I'll send it to you.
Okay, cool.
I know, right? It's intriguing. I just put it here because I found a video where somebody is attempting to use a cross to ward off demons or whatever sorts they believe are there. But they also had a shotgun, which is just so bizarre. So what am I getting at here? What's the point of this? So if you're going to be using holy water and a cross to cleanse spirits from a home, you necessarily have to believe in the Catholic ritual, because you're attempting to use the Catholic ritual in a supernatural situation. However, You can go to the next image, Scott. The
Or
if you really follow the Catholic doctrine, let's see what comes up here. Okay, so here goes somebody who wrote a very intriguing book about demonic possession. This is Father Gabriel Amherst, and he wrote a book called An Exorcist Tells His Story. That might be one worth checking out. An Exorcist Tells His Story. But notice what he says. Somebody calls his talk show and says that they are possessed by Satan. What is the first thing he says? Well, it sounds like you need help, right? They don't immediately say, well, you're possessed. No, the first thing they say is, I think you need to see a psychologist. So I think it's really critical to understand that just self-identifying as a possessed person is insufficient to warrant the right of exorcism. We can go to the next one, Scott.
okay, hold on. We got to do a Global Strangeness store sale for $29.95. You can get yourself a sage stick. Ghosts be gone.
Go speak on.
Ghosts be gone. I like that.
$29.95.
It's like glue be gone, but for ghosts.
They will be on the Global Strangeness store. Buy now before supplies run out.
Right next to the birds aren't real bumper stickers.
That's right.
Okay.
The Global Strangeness birds aren't real bumper stickers.
So here's another priest. So I'm going to be wrapping this up. So listen, all of you guys and gals walking through supposedly haunted houses with your holy water and your crosses. Number one, if you don't believe Catholic doctrine, none of that stuff is applicable. Secondly, houses are not the appropriate application of that tool set, because that tool set comes from a very specific Catholic rite called the exorcism, and it's only applicable to people, right? So you're not going to be able to use holy water and crosses to rid a house, a structure of some kind of spirit.
You
So-
use our sage sticks for $29.95.
There you go. So the last point is, well, what does the Catholic Church think these things are? What are ghosts from the Catholic point of view? Well, the Catholic Church, here goes a priest telling you right here that ghosts are not demons or the devil. So again, if you're walking through a house with these magical implements, you're basically not doing anything, because the underlying philosophy that empowers these artifacts doesn't believe that you're using them for the right purpose. Can we go to the next slide?
Absolutely.
So here's what the Catholic Church says ghosts actually are. They are human spirits without bodies.
Yep.
The purgatory.
So yeah, the Catholics believe that there are three types of ghosts. Ghosts from purgatory who are looking for prayers, ghosts from heaven who are downstruck, and ghosts from hell who are there to straighten people up, kind of like a Scared Straight episode, but on the metaphysical level.
It's kind of like a Christmas Carol, right? The
Yeah,
ghosts
it's
from
kinda like
hell
there's some-
straighten you up.
Yeah.
I like it.
So,
Gotta take
Debra,
a
what
couple
I
of those.
exactly what I really wanted to do here is disabuse the notion of guys and gals walking through a house with holy water and crosses. It's simply not applicable, right? It's all theater. It's doing nothing, because the religion and the tenets of religion that empower those artifacts say very clearly that they're not applicable to anything other than the dispossession of an evil demon from a human body.
That's right. If you're walking through a house, you need a proton pack, a jumpsuit, and a pet ghost
Yeah.
slimer.
Well, this, like I told you guys my ghost story, like, I don't know, last episode or the episode before, but when I was first with my wife, like even my mom started noticing it, all of our friends started noticing it. And then I started buying sage like this and I would roll it up, $29.95. And I just hotboxed the whole fucking house. I know Deborah would think that like me thinking that the ghosts aren't there anymore, I went back into like just not paying attention mode. But what have you had any what's the most paranormal experience you've had, Michael?
I really haven't had any besides some of the vivid dreams that I've had, which are remnant of, the dreams that have been reported for centuries about a demon sitting on your chest. I've had that dream.
So you
I've
have
been
sleep paralysis.
I've had sleep paralysis. I've been unable to breathe. I've had those experiences, but in terms of paranormal, Scott, I'm still looking for it. I'm still waiting to have that moment.
See, I'm trying not to have another one of those moments ever again, dude.
I
And our
just,
sage sticks work, $29.95.
yeah,
Paranormal store.
we have you should have a Amazon store. You're selling all this stuff. I got
We'll
a
get a
couple
website
book
soon.
recommendations for you.
I don't know, like I did have a couple of experiences, but it was when I was, before I had kids. There were a couple that came into when I had kids, but I haven't had any more. I mean, maybe I was
Any more kids or experiences?
hopefully no more kids too, dude. I'm almost 40. But yeah, no, I it's weird because like, alcohol and marijuana doesn't do that. It wasn't like I was on psychedelics and saw some crazy shit. But yeah, thank God it hasn't happened in a while. My wife says she still sees it. The other day she was talking about some crazy guy. She's talking right now. A crazy guy sitting in my closet because I never shut my closet door.
Oh, wow.
I don't see that shit. So
I've heard if you
That's
take a whole
more
Delta 8 gummy, you'll see Slender Man standing at the end of your bed, but I don't know
That-
that from experience.
don't fuck with that Delta 8 shit, dude. That's like China chemicals. Just do a
Yeah.
THC gummy.
Deborah, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine. I was just saying some people are just more sensitive, right? So when you are more sensitive, you'll notice more. And also, I think spirit will interact with you more too, because they understand that you actually can see and acknowledge. So, Scott, if you, again, were more, open to it, and alcohol and drugs and whatever, that actually depresses your ability to see it. It makes you less sensitive to everything. I think anyways, I don't know. I can't confirm that, but there
So
are.
I got to get my wife more loaded so she'll stop bringing the shit around.
Why
That's
are you so scared of it, or so like,
checkmate.
it's a
And
brand.
And
because
Scott,
none of it was good.
once you do that, Scott, that's when you're gonna have more kids.
What do you want, spirits or kids? What's going on? It's one or the other.
So, Deborah, you were raised in the Catholic tradition.
Bad.
What do you think of what I just went through?
Of what are you talking about? About
Of my
the,
presentation on this podcast tonight.
oh yeah, 100%. Like, so definitely I was raised in the Catholic Church, and you presented it really well, their belief. I personally, my whole belief system has changed to like a spiritual one, where I believe everybody has this connection and the ability to connect with spirits. I do agree with, you had that slide where the priest was saying that spirits are just humans without bodies. That's true. And, as far as I have a little bit different idea, though, I'm not 100% sure when it comes to like demons, when people are saying they're encountering demons. I think it's just other entities. I think, but I don't know that label about that. Like, do you guys think that a demon is a completely, like, there's an angel and a demon, or do you believe that there is just, that's an entity that's stronger is all, and people are more scared of it?
I don't want to ever find out. That's where I sit.
Well, if you look at, remember our guest from last week, Victoria, the demon folklorist.
Oh, that
She
was 2
actually
weeks ago.
had, I'm sorry?
That was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. Thank you. She actually has a, almost like a checklist to do an analysis to assess whether or not what you're dealing with is a demon or a jinn. Her point of view is that if you're encountering a demon, it's unmistakable. You'll know just by virtue of the intensity of the encounter.
Yeah, and so my question is though, some people, if you're really fearful, then you can actually feed that energy with your own fear, like your energy is raising up. And because I feel like a lot of people say they've encountered demons, and I doubt it is. I feel like that, along with the crosses and holy water, get thrown around quite a bit.
There's only one person I've ever talked to that actually says they saw a demon multiple times, or maybe actually the devil himself, and I actually believe them. There's only been one person, and his stories still shake me to my core to this day. So,
Did it
And they-
involve Bigfoot porn?
no, Scott, no, Scott. Bigfoot porn never comes up in my show, Scott.
What
Yeah, I don't know about
can you
that
tell
one.
us the story? What is the story that
I could tell. I'll tell. There's 3 of them, but I'll tell one, because this one is the one that really got me, and I cannot tell in his voice because his voice is meant for storytelling. That's kind of what he does as well, because he's good at it. But these are all personal experiences from his life, so it's not stories he wrote or performed. If you want to listen to it, his name is, oh my God, am I really gonna forget it right now? Of course I am. It's one of my first episodes. I believe it's called You Mean the Devil Makes Three, but it's one of my first episodes on Paranormal Normal. But Christopher something, god damn it. Oh, Christopher Susi, that's his name. Took me a minute. It's been a while. But the first story he told me is about when he was in the army and he was in South America. I believe it was Peru or Colombia. I'm not 200% sure, but you could easily Google what I'm about to say and it will come up in results. But basically, he was going through this canyon on patrol, and the only way through, because it's South America, is to go through this really dangerous canyon that's deep. You're basically going through like a little narrow space that a Jeep just fits through. So they're going through it, him and his troop, and they look up and there's all these crosses on top of the canyon on both sides. And so when they get through, they had a guy with them, I think, and they asked the guy, like, what's with all the crosses and whatnot? And he's like, oh, those are all the people that died in this canyon. They all they can never find the bodies, so they put the crosses on top of the canyon. And so they're like, okay, that's kind of weird. And oh yeah, the name of the canyon is El Canyon de Tio. So Uncle's Canyon. And they get to the other side, it's just about nightfall. And they go through the checkpoint, get out. And the guards basically are just at the point where they're about to block up the canyon for night, because every night there's guards on both sides of the canyon, and they put gates across. People can't get in there anymore because people are dying too often in there. So right as they get to the other side and they're taking a break before they figure out where they gotta go next, one of his troop members runs screaming into the canyon for no inexplicable reason at that point. So they run after him, and the guards are yelling at them because they're about to close the gate. And they finally find him up in the canyon in one of the caves. And basically he's looking around and they shake him out of it. They're like, what the hell was that? What happened? He's like, I could swear I heard like a little girl screaming. Like it sounded like a girl screaming. And so he ran back in because he heard that and he was trying to help her. So they get their wits about him and they all start walking out of the canyon, going towards the gate. And as they get close to the gate, all of a sudden the guards open fire, like in their direction. And like they realize a few minutes later, the guards are not shooting at them, but it's in their direction. So they run up to, and the guards finally they see the one guard be like, come on. And like, so like they all run up to the guard booth and like the translator asks them like, why are you shooting? And they're like, that. And a giant red bull is pacing back and forth at the entrance to the canyon. And it seems like the bullets are bouncing right off it and not even afflicting it in any way. Maybe making it a little angrier, but it didn't seem like there was no blood, he said. There was no holes. You could see them going in the body. It's just like you would if they shot a bull in front of you in any other circumstance, you would see the bullet holes right away. But no, it seems like they're bouncing off the bull. And they ask, like, what is that? And they're like, that's El Tio. And on the outside of this canyon, there's actually pictures of it online, is a giant painting of what we would call the devil or Satan. But they call him Tio. And supposedly he lives in that canyon. He lives in that canyon, and that's his territory. And it takes the form of a bull, or it can take the other forms of other animals too, or other more horrible forms from what the locals were telling him. And you can actually Google El Canyon de Tio, and it'll come up with all the results and people talking about it. So that was the first time he thought he saw the devil. And the way he tells it, like, I can't tell as good as he does. I'm not a storyteller like that, but the way he tells it, because he lived it, and he has the emotion for it as well. Like, it's just, you could tell when he's telling it that they were terrified what was happening. They were beyond terrified. So, I mean, I don't know. South America is a creepy place. So I've heard enough stories about South America to make me not want to go there.
I got a question for Debra. Like,
What's up?
you grew up in Catholic church like your whole childhood through. Did you ever hear of a family that had like an exorcism or?
No, no. The most, I guess, the thing that sticks out in my mind, and I do remember a priest speaking to us about there was some people getting into occult stuff. And so the priest came to the school and had this discussion about people were doing these rituals where they were, trying to summon Satan and summon demons and whatever. There was some of that going around in the city. And so they had this, discussion about occult stuff. And there was definitely, there was students, and they were like, do you want to come, to the railroad tracks and whatever. And I was like, what if he shows up? Like, no, I don't want
Thank
to.
you. That's the
People
way
were
I've been this whole
actually
fucking podcast.
But it was very real to me when the priest comes and is actually saying yes. And he was talking about he had been, been an eyewitness. I don't think he actually performed the exorcism, but he was an eyewitness when another priest was doing it. He was present, and it was like flipping terrifying, because you have these weirdo kids in the school talking about this stuff, and then the priest, who at that time, you put some belief into what they're saying. That's the head of your church or whatever, is saying, yeah, it is true, and don't do it because and whatever. So made it pretty real in my mind. That's, it could, if you go to the railroad tracks and sacrifice a chicken at the right time, you could be summoning something you don't want to. So
It's weird though, dude.
kind of
Like,
freaky. That was freaky.
It worked for
was
Robert
in-
Johnson.
I was in PE class when I think I was in like 10th or 11th grade, and we had one of these weird girls, and she, like, this bitch literally, while we were like running track, threw a fucking rock and hit a crow, and then it started raining, and we went in the fucking gym, and she had the crow, and she fucking ripped the thing's wings off, like, in the middle of the gym during PE, dude. They're always weird fucking kids, right? That doesn't mean they're like summoning Satan.
Oh yeah, they'd like to, but doesn't mean they are. Like, they have no ability to do that. But what's the probability that one of those groups of kids figures out how to do it accidentally and somehow does it?
Would
Well,
you
that-
guys do it to see it?
They wanted to do that, like they wanted to meet to summon something, and probably they're full of shit.
I mean,
But what if they did? I'm like,
influence over the world. I think I could deal with that for a while.
So would you guys, if somebody invited you to summon Satan, like, I wouldn't fucking do it. I don't believe in it, but I don't fuck with things that I don't understand. Would you guys do it?
I have kids now. No, before I had kids, yeah, definitely.
no, because I think that I truly still believe that there's, negative energy. Like, again, it's all energy, right? So you can feel when somebody, even people, same with spirits, there's good energies, there's bad energies. Why would you want to mess around with negative energies and have them attach, and then you have to try and, detach and get rid of them and stuff? Why would you do that?
Don't lie, Deborah. You would do it to make vampires a real thing. You would do it.
No.
What about you, Michael? Like, as a skeptic, would you do it?
Well, Scott, first of all, I'm trying to figure out how Chick-fil-A deals with the chicken sacrifice thing.
Oh,
Seems like that would be
I
a
was a
problem,
vegan
right?
for 10 years.
They sacrifice chickens. Come on now.
Exactly.
Why
That's
take a close on
exactly-
Sundays? That's what they do on Sundays.
That's right. They spend all day Sunday sacrificing chickens, and the devil never seems to appear. I don't get it.
No, that's
he's
when
like-
they're trying to pray the gay away. We can all agree that Chick-fil-A sucks. I don't know what the big deal about it is. Overpriced chicken.
Scott,
It's over- You can get dollar chicken sandwiches from fucking McDonald's are just as good.
it was an attempt at humor.
No, dude, it was all funny.
It wasn't a political statement, my friend.
It was all
just
fun, man.
Everything with Scott is political. Come on now.
Santeria,
Everything with Scott is an
Chick-fil-A.
attempt
it's
at
freaking
humor.
hilarious.
Hillary Clinton's biggest fan over here, you know?
I
With
hope
respect
so.
To participating in a ritual, you know, I'm not going to say yes. I'm not going to say no. Like I said, Scott, I'm highly skeptical. I don't think it's real. I don't think it's possible. I don't think anything will ever come of it. So would I do it? Yeah, possibly.
What if it was like a well-respected back in the day, like Aleister Crowley type figure, like a
You know what he got to do? I would fucking be that man's right-hand man.
What, you want to fuck goats and kids? Like,
That's not what he
Fuck
did.
Aleister Crowley, dude.
That's not what he did most of the
yeah,
time.
he
That's
did
why
a
it's
lot of weird fucking gay shit.
Those
Dude,
guys
he-
had a lot of fun back in the day, man. Come on. Those were different times.
They had orgies, brother. He had straight up orgies like better than Charles Manson.
It was all theater, guys. It was just all theater. It
But,
was
like-
those, those guys were laughing their asses off behind the scenes.
Oh god.
They used to have wizard fights and shit. I just picture a big group of nerds, like fucking goats, to be honest with you. But if you had an Aleister Crowley type figure, like to this day, like a well-respected Satanist that invited you specifically to like come and see the devil, would you do it?
Sure. I want to know. I want to know.
See, my
I-
Irish superstition would not let me go.
If I
Don't
mean,
be superstitious, my friend.
it
There's
depends what
nothing
kind.
on. You see this door behind me?
Hmm.
Nothing back there.
Well, my brain can say don't be superstitious, but when my OCD takes over, it says, fuck you, Scott, get in line.
Scott, once you go through the door, nothing there, my friend.
So
Yeah.
you don't also believe then, Michael, in like angels, and because there's always the flip side, the good entities or whatever. So what's your take on that then?
I think a lot of this is just superstition, Deborah. I have yet to see or feel anything that approximates a belief in any of this. I'm not saying don't be spiritual. I think we can go down that road at some point, but I'm more inclined to believe the ancient aliens theory than I am to believe the stories that we've been told.
Right.
Took
I
me a
mean-
long time to not be a light switcher. I used to tap my keys and like fucking hardcore OCD. So I'm staying away from the Satanist shit. Even
Yeah, I
though
get it.
don't believe in it.
Well, you better loosen that up when they get the Ouija board.
I don't do Ouija boards. I'll
I
do
thought
a
you and
Ouija
I
board-
agreed to that,
I'll do
Scott.
a Ouija board with you in the swamp, but we're both eating the chip, and I have 2 chips.
Oh, so I have to eat the package chip to play the
Yes,
game.
yes. I
You're-
have to do
you're
the
tough,
Ouija
man.
board. You have to do the chip.
You're
You want
tough.
And then we'll summon Satan together.
You want to summon your devil, you got to summon his devil. That's the way it
That's-
works.
His devil is a lot worse than any other devil, man. Have you tried that packy chip?
You
No,
ain't,
I like my stomach for the way it is. Thank you.
you're not gonna give a goddamn about the devil when he gets there, dude.
Yeah.
At least not for the
Yeah.
first 20 minutes.
On that show,
When
you
it gets to the other orifice, man, You'll be screaming
Ooh.
at the devil. I'm telling you.
The first year, I
I'll
didn't
shout at the
have
devil for
any of
that.
it.
No.
The first year, the chip lasted an hour and then it was done. Last year I did it, it lasted about 20 minutes, went about my business. 3 hours later, like for an hour, my stomach felt like I
Yep.
was about to shit fire. It was crazy.
Oh, shit the bed hot sauce is the
Lovely.
same thing. Shit the bed hot sauce is the same thing.
Debra won't do it, even though she was all like pro doing the chip together.
Yeah, no, until I heard more about it.
Oh my God. Well, whatever. Fucking, I
Alright.
think the pixelated paranormal fell out of doing the chip too.
Well, Scott,
It's gonna be me by myself.
I think it's time you hit your topic, man. We've been going for an hour and a half already.
No, you do your topic, then I'll do mine.
My topic's already been done. I've thrown it in between everybody's and answering people's questions. That's how I do my shit.
Well, no, that's the producer's job. When Bruce comes back, I'm the guy who doesn't have to do research anymore, my friend.
Yeah, okay, Scott.
Michael's like, I've joined the group and nobody wants to do it. Research.
Okay, hold up. I've got,
Commentator.
okay, that's for my, before we
Yeah,
get into,
I couldn't even think what to look up for this shit, so I just went with what I know.
okay. Okay, so before I get into my topic, this is my one day off. I was browsing the old YouTubes this morning and I
Oh God, help us
decided
all.
I'm gonna share some stuff.
Oh God, help us all.
We talk about monsters in this show.
Oh, that's,
Wow.
yeah, I see that.
Look at that motherfucker, dude.
That's some good fried gator. That's some good fried gator right there.
So I think this was 1950, but those bitches are fitting inside that motherfucker's mouth, dude.
Did you hear about the alligator in Florida that they saw going down a canal with a freaking 40-year-old woman's body in its mouth?
Yep, that was nearby where I live.
Yeah. I wish I would have got the video. Okay, I got one more gator.
Just
one more
never have
prop
your
clip.
camera when you need it. That's how those things go.
Same with the aliens, right?
No, you can have a camera, it's just not gonna work.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so this little monster here,
Oh, I seen that
he's
one.
missing an arm.
Yep.
So he died, I think, in about 2013. But look at that motherfucker, dude. We're talking about like werewolves and dogmen and demons and shit. That thing will fuck you up.
Yep.
See, that's
Okay.
why the guy had a cross and a shotgun. You just
See?
never.
Yeah, you need
You
that
just never know.
shotgun. You need
Scott.
that fucking shotgun.
That's why I made a natural horror movie bracket, because it has all the big animals in it.
Okay,
The real
well,
ones too.
speaking of big alligators, I don't think, is this yeah, this is a croc too, not an alligator. But let me share the old screen feathers here. Listen to this fucking monster. Is that an alligator? That might be an alligator. His nose is
It's an alligator.
Yeah.
I hear nothing, Scott. I think you got sound off.
Do I have the sound off?
It seems that way.
Yeah.
Shit. Hold up. We won't do the whole video here. Get back to zoomage. Share sound. You were right. I had the sound off. Thank you, Jeremy. That is a fucking demon there, son.
It's a beast.
That is unreal.
Yeah, that motherfucker better get out of there faster than get eaten.
Oh,
Those people are crazy. How are you gonna jump in the water with that? Like,
Like how yeah.
Well, Jeremy, it's not jumping in the water that's a problem. It's jumping back out.
Getting out, yeah, after the piss.
Splashing. No, my son and I have told that story before, but we heard like what we would call a demon when we were fishing at the bridge. And I've looked through every fucking cat sound, elk sound, bear sound. Like, I have no idea what it was, but like if I heard that motherfucker, I would think that was a demon too. out in the Everglades.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Jeremy's not doing his. I did mine on Siberian shamans. I
Hmm.
kind of misread this a little bit. I thought we were doing like different cultures, like superstitions and
Look at you not doing your homework right, Scott.
religious beliefs.
You get an F this week.
Well, Debra and Jeremy both know that this Christmas we're doing round 2, and now you know Michael, round 2 with Pixelated Paranormal on their dumbass idea that Santa Claus was originated from the Amanita muscaria mushroom and the shamans of Siberia. So I thought doing this topic, I would kind of, get some research in to disprove that as well.
You and your Christmas horror, I swear to God.
I love it. I love Christmas. It's
I
coming up.
was thinking Santa Claus came from Krampus.
Well, I mean, we'll get into that when they're back on the show because
Okay.
Santa Claus was invented. It used to be Odin. It was a fat guy on a sled. It was a bunch of different things until about the mid 1850s. And the Siberians did not start migrating over to our country until about 1890. So,
Okay. That's going to be a cool subject.
yeah, we're
You should go listen to the episode we did last year with Rissa Miller as our guest. She's an expert in everything creepy Christmas, as she calls it.
Yeah, she's good.
Do you guys want to do another? Should we do another reading for Weird Christmas?
Sure, that was fun.
That
Okay,
was so
cool.
fun.
I'll get in touch with him.
We did a scripted reading last year for of a Christmas poem Scott found.
Okay.
Well, no. It's this dude has him write him in. Weird Christmas. It's a great fucking podcast. Listen to it. So we're gonna jump into the shamanic beliefs. They're animistic. So that plays a crucial role in the way the Siberian shamans see the world. They believe that everything has a fucking soul. So from like rocks to rivers to animals, trees, clouds, people, the whole shooting match, everything has a
Yeah.
fucking soul. I don't
It
know
was
how
a-
that
It was a Japanese belief originally too.
I
It's
don't
one of
know
the
how that
Japanese
works with
beliefs.
Amazon. Maybe like everything that gets dropped off on your door has a soul, but they don't get shit dropped off at their door.
Even
So
Amazon, almost Siberia.
depending on their goal, depends on like what they're trying to communicate. So Siberia, the weather is cold as hell. Like this is just a fucking hellhole, dude. The temperature, like the average winter temperature is negative 40 degrees. I know that's normal for Debra, but for us here in America, like I don't think, I mean, that is hell. I wouldn't move there. And then their summers, they have average temperatures between 68 and 86. That's like the temperature of my house all year long or all year long. But the bigger nightmare is the fact that these motherfuckers can make it look like Florida doesn't even have mosquitoes. They're just
Oh, yeah.
fucking clouds of mosquitoes in the 2 months out of the year that they have a little bit of warm weather. So, if they're experiencing shittier than usual winter weather, then they'll probably like pray to the cloud gods or whatever. But if they need deeper advice, they'll pray to their ancestors. So they believe that like all of their ancestors down the line, they can pray to them. And it's kind of the opposite of an exorcism, because when they pray to their ancestors, the shamans actually invite their spirit into themselves. And then the fucking ancestor speaks to the tribe around them. And I've got a video of this. Let me pull this up real quick.
Handling.
Kind of seems like the whole tongue's nonsense to me, but maybe it's real. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think.
Where the shamans receive spirits and let them into their bodies, the spirits of the dead. Ceremonies like this would help promote harmony and balance, shamans say. It is believed that as long as these ceremonies continue, the world would go on. Irina believes that the spirit of her late grandmother resides inside her body. She sings with her grandmother's voice.
My grandmother was here and gave me luck in my work as a shaman.
After the ceremony,
Okay, so
the
that
birches
was
are
like
burned.
the best I could find with the fucking extensive Googling for one of these shamanic practices of the ghost in entering the body. So
Yeah,
I don't
That's
know.
very
Did you guys
interesting.
buy that or was that tongues?
I don't think Disney pays for their documentary to go to freaking Siberia, so
It'd be more interesting if it was like the voice of a old grandpa, or because her voice could be very similar to that.
Yeah,
All
no.
right. I mean, it
And-
could be her mother, who knows? But if
Right,
it was
so
anything
you want
weird that you wouldn't have.
to see something that defies what would be normally considered possible.
like
Right.
The Exorcist, the fucking
Right.
movie, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah, no, I don't know. Like, I don't want to shit on their fucking
that's
beliefs.
people believe this stuff, man. That's what they believe.
But yeah, no, so they have their ancestors come through them and speak, and you saw that. And so the way they do this, right? Like every different, and it's weird because when you look at the Siberian shamans, like the whole Siberian tribe, don't tell the pixelated paranormal, but those people were estimated to come down to North America about 30,000 years ago. So like pre the last ice age.
Mm-hmm.
But they did not immigrate here until after Santa Claus was a thing. Let that be on the record. But yeah, no, so maybe I think all of the indigenous people or Native Americans, I don't know what you would call the group of like what we would call Indians from South
And-
America all the way up to Debra's area and fucking like Alaska and all that shit. Like,
indigenous people, you got it right.
okay, cool. Well, they all have like similar ways of contacting the spirits. Most of them use psychedelic drugs. Some of them, if there are no psychedelic drugs, like the Inuit people, they'll do like the chanting until they exhaust themselves and steam rooms and shit until they have a natural DMT releasal in their brain. But these people eat the Santa mushroom, Amanita muscaria.
Wait, what is it called? The Santa mushroom?
Yeah, Amanita muscaria. It like if you look into it, there's a ton of it shouldn't just be the Santa mushroom because it's in a lot of like Catholic stained glass and paintings and shit. You'll see a lot of the older shit, there's always the Amanita muscaria, right? Like the Mario mushroom, except it looks like an actual shroom. It's the
Oh,
red
I
and
gotta
white
look that
one.
up. Okay.
So whether it's peyote, ayahuasca, or mushrooms, a lot of indigenous cultures seem to use this shit so they can fucking talk to their ancestors or the trees or whatever the hell. But one difference with the Siberians that's kind of interesting is it's kind of like the South American tribes where they had to make ayahuasca, which essentially you have DMT, like a plant that produces DMT, but when you digest it, it kills it. So you have to take it with an MOA inhibitor. So they just like walked through the jungle and found fucking 3 different plants that they magically put together out of thousands of plants. And now they can talk to the gods. It's kind of the same way with the Siberian shaman. So they will eat all of these fucking mushrooms, but these mushrooms, if any of us were to eat them, they're highly toxic. So we would get really sick and we wouldn't feel the psychedelic effects very much at all. So what the shaman will do, his main job is to just fucking eat these mushrooms nonstop. He builds up a tolerance to the toxic shit in the mushrooms. And then all of the tribes people drink his piss. And then when they drink his piss, the fucking, they trip balls, dude. And what's crazy, and Pixelated Paranormal brought it up. Good on them. I'm still gonna crush their theory. But the caribou will come and fucking knock people over when they're pissing to drink their piss, because the
Yep.
caribou like to fucking trip balls too.
I'm guessing
Yeah.
they are not really big on asparagus over there.
I don't think asparagus grows in Siberia.
Siberians, inventors of the golden shower.
Kinda, yeah. Like at least drinking it, right? They are the inventors of the bar trick of drinking someone else's piss. Except they did it with more reward.
So you're saying that they get the hallucinations from drinking the shaman's urine?
Yeah,
Yep.
so like the shaman filters out all the toxins and then just produces. I don't think it's even psilocybin. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on this, but I think whatever the Amanita muscaria is, it's different than psilocybin. So it's a different type of hallucinogenic. It might be, maybe all mushrooms are psilocybin. Don't quote me on that.
So you think it's strange that they magically figured out which plants to eat? I think it's like, how did they figure out to drink his pee?
Well, no, that's why I was comparing
Also-
those two, right? Like if you go like the indigenous people from where I'm from, like the Antelope Valley, they would eat peyote. Like they made it into a tea and you'd trip balls. It's mescaline. Or you would, just take straight peyote buttons. A lot of like the northeastern Indian or indigenous people, they would pick straight psilocybin mushrooms and eat them. Like
Yep.
there are a bunch of different ways to trip, but for some reason, these people found out like crazy ways to trip fucking balls. So I
Oh.
thought that was worth pointing out.
It was trial and error. It was 100% trial and error.
Yeah, but
Okay.
like
Countless lives lost to figure out which ones are the right ones to trip off and which ones kill you.
with ayahuasca, right? You have this DMT plant that fucking does not release unless you have an MOA inhibitor. So there are thousands upon thousands of plants in the Amazon, and they managed to get these two fucking plants together. And the best goddamn explanation is the shaman saying that the plants told us to mix these fucking plants together. Like, I don't know how else to explain it, right?
Yeah, that's strange.
It's fascinating, without a question.
Okay.
How do you pick a vine and the fucking like bark of a tree, and then I think it's a leaf of something else, and mix those all together and create
Randomly.
ayahuasca?
Yeah.
Trial and error.
Either aliens or the plants are really fucking talking to these people. I
Hey,
don't
plant cryptids are a real thing. There's not enough of them to do an episode on, but they're a real thing.
Are there plant cryptid porn sites?
Oh, jeez.
Scott, you and your porn. You and your porn, you outmatch
You
me on
and
it,
your
dude.
porn, dude.
Dude, I haven't watched porn in like 2 years since I moved in with my kids. Like, I haven't watched porn since then. So it's been a long 2 years, but thank you, X. But X,
Thank you, X.
the official site of OnlyFans.
So, Scott, what is this experience like with this mushroom, this Santa Claus red speckled mushroom? What do they say they see? What do they experience?
Like there's not a lot, because I think the Siberian people and the shamans especially, it's kind of, they're not on YouTube, right? Like that was the best fucking video I could see, and it was some BBC nonsense. But I think it's probably like taking penis envy mushrooms at a heroic dose when you drink the shaman's pee.
So how
So-
does that relate to Santa Claus per se? Was there a connection between that? Those
Yeah.
two ideas?
So the shamans back in the old days, like it goes into the religious text where there are a lot of these Amanita muscaria mushrooms like around Jesus and Mary and like all the prophets and shit. Like if you look at you can Google that and you'll see tons of like images from the 1400s where it like relates to Jesus. And we've got Christ Mass. But then on top of that, the shamanic fucking people from Siberia used to wear big red coats and pants, like their whole outfit kind of looked like Santa Claus. And then they're loaded with caribou, right? And caribou are reindeer. So that's where like, I don't know, listen to Weird Christmas, listen to a lot of other Christmas things. This easily disproven. We are going to blast this bullshit idea of Christmas being started by the Siberians out of the fucking
So-
park.
What's our topic next week? That's the question.
Well, I still got fucking shit here.
Alright,
Who's coming up with next week though? Better give them time to think.
I'm out of the, I don't know, I've been out of the rotation for a while, so I have no freaking idea.
And it's
Jeremy's
you.
picking.
Alright, I have a few ideas, since we got some new members and some new insights on certain things. But finish your thing up, Scott, then I'll announce it.
Okay, so I'm gonna not to drag that on anymore. I've just got some of the superstitions that they believe in, and that's what I thought we were doing this week. But so Siberian tribal people believe these things. You get bad luck if you harm the environment, so only take what you need and leave enough for the land to grow back. That seems like good fucking advice. They only hunt certain animals and all the other animals are off limits or else you get bad luck. I would assume reindeer are in those hunted animals, but you kill a roly-poly and you're fucked for the year. Dreams are all messages from the spirit world. It's bad luck to say the names of any deceased, especially in a disrespectful way, which I thought was really weird because, like, I don't know if you have to say the first and last name or if they even have first and last names or if they just have like a million fucking names. So nobody's named the same thing, right? Like, how do you not say Jeremy ever again? I know a fuckload of Jeremys.
Seriously, I mean, it'd be hard, especially in America.
Jeremy or Debra died, like, and my aunt's name was Debra. She's dead. My mother-in-law's name, like, I could.
Well, maybe they
have to
mean
be like,
only the person who passed on, but even then, if you're talking about memories and stuff, like you know, you still talk about the people, don't you? That's
Well, I mean, it's
Well,
the same
that-
as it's the same as saying don't talk ill of the dead. It's the same thing. It's where it comes from.
well, not talking
But can
ill,
you
but
like
he's saying
bring up
not at all.
good memories?
Mhm.
I don't know. I thought that one was weird. And then you must leave food and drink for your dead ancestors. And that goes from anything to like a full-blown meal, and they still do like vodka and cigarettes. So leave them cigarettes out, even though they're expensive, because your dead need them. And then if you make eye contact with an animal long enough, you'll invite their spirit into your body. So don't do that. If your cat's looking at you, just don't do it. Because that motherfucker's up to no good because I put him in a goddamn cowboy outfit last week. He would love to be in my body.
I'd love to see those shots.
So this one's pretty basic. Don't walk through sacred sites, walk around them. You know, cemeteries or places of prayer or whatever. They also wear protective amulets to keep bad spirits out. I mean, that's pretty universal. Traumatic experiences can cause you to lose your soul.
Hmm.
So try not to have any of those. Otherwise, they'll need to like repair your soul back to you. That seems like a mental health thing, and that's why you should pay $29.95 to see us first. They have these crazy numerological belief systems. So they've got all sorts of weird shit with numbers. All you guys need to know is the number 9 is lucky. Bad weather is a warning. And they have a
Shit,
lot
Sherlock.
of fucking bad weather in Siberia. So they must have like amber alerts non-fucking stop, son. And then the most important of all is if you never under any circumstances whistle at night, or Slender Man's gonna get you. Or like,
Because the Siberians have heard Slender Man.
well, maybe not Slender Man, but some fucking big bad ugly's gonna get you.
I mean,
I'm more
that's
afraid of Slender Man than
a superstition everywhere, though. Don't whistle at night. Like, you're gonna attract things to you. That's how you let predators know where you are too. That's just stupid.
what are you talking about, dude? Have you ever like walked down the street when you're drinking with your buddies? We're all whistling Dixie.
I can't whistle at all, so I'm good. But
I've even heard that superstition. I didn't know you can't whistle at night.
Well, we can. We're not in Siberia.
Oh, well,
Well, you're pretty close, dude. Like that. Other than mosquitoes, like that cold weather, you might have them topped.
so you ready for next week's topic, Scott?
Bigfoot porn.
jeez.
Close, but no cigar, buddy. It will be Bigfoot Part 2, however. We're going back to Sasquatchery.
Bigfoot part 2.
You mean skunk ape?
You can bring
You
whatever
and me, Michael.
you can
Skunk
bring
aping
whichever
it up.
you can bring whichever one you want, Scott. There's a lot of different Bigfoots in this world. International Bigfoot Week.
Is it next week?
No, I have no fucking idea, but
No.
no. That's what we're doing though.
Who's
So.
labeling it?
And then we'll think something to do with the week. We'll have to think of something special to do the week you're gone.
Talk shit about Scott week. Oh,
We do that. We do that when you're here. We don't need to do that special when you're gone. Come on.
When is that? When is that guest, the Irish lady coming on? That's in October, right?
the 15th.
When Scott's back.
And then,
And
yeah, next.
That's a
is
good
next
pose to
week
freezing
the
there.
first?
Yes, next weekend is the first.
Okay, I got a flat Earth dude that wants to come on. Bruce is coming back next week.
Yeah, we'll make sure he knows what the topic is. But that's why we're doing Bigfoot again, because we got 2 new voices to voice their opinion on Bigfoot. So,
Where are you on Bigfoot, Michael?
oh well, let them save for next week, man. We don't need to ruin it.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's it, kids. You heard it here. Back here next week for Bigfoot part 2.
You heard it next week, kids. This week, us on the East Coast are ready for sleepy time. It's 11 o'clock here. So
Goodbye,
Bye.
everybody.
Have a good week.
be sure to check out Scott and Maniacal Music Musings this week.
Yeah, I listened to your Guar episode.